Welcome to the Resurrection Timeline class for teens and adults. Today, we're going to explore the events that took place between the death of Jesus, his resurrection, and the ascension. I'm Diana, and I'll be your teacher today. But before we get started, let's see what supplies you'll need. You will need to have the Resurrection Timeline student pages and some colored pencils or colored pens. Once you have those, now turn to page 1 of your resurrection timeline. Jesus and his disciples traveled to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. Passover was one of the 3 feasts in which all Jewish men of Israel were commanded to appear before the Lord, according to Deuteronomy 16:16. On the way, Jesus performed an amazing miracle. He raised Lazarus from the dead. But not everyone was happy about this. Jewish leaders saw Jesus as a threat to their authority, and they feared Roman retaliation if Jesus stirred up the people. Caiaphas, the high priest, famously declared, "It is better for one man to die for the people than the whole nation to perish." The Jewish leaders came up with a plan. They needed an insider to help them capture Jesus without causing a scene. Knowing this, the leaders found Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' own disciples, willing to betray him for 30 silver coins, the price of a common slave in the first century. Now draw a religious leader handing money to Judas. Jesus and his disciples gathered in the upper room to celebrate the Passover, a feast that had been observed for 1400 years, commemorating Israel's freedom from bondage in Egypt. The Passover meal traditionally included 4 cups of wine, unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. Jesus took the bread, blessed the Lord, broke it, and said, "This is my body." He then took the cup, gave thanks, and declared, "This is my blood shed for you for the forgiveness of sin." By doing this, he was demonstrating the beginning of a new covenant. Draw Jesus with a cup in one hand and bread in the other. Toward the end of the meal, Judas left the house to meet with the religious leaders and betrayed Jesus. After the dinner, Jesus and the other disciples sang hymns. The hymns they likely sang were from the Hallel Psalms, Psalms 113 to 118, songs of praise for God's deliverance. After singing the hymns, they walked to the garden. Once in the garden, Jesus asked the disciples to pray. He took Peter, James, and John further into the garden with him and instructed them to both watch and pray. Garden. The traditional location of the Garden of Gethsemane is located on the western slope of the Mount of Olives. The name Gethsemane means oil press, and that fits what happened to Jesus at this location. Extreme pressure was applied to him, so much so that he sweat drops of blood. Since ancient times, Christians have come to this garden to pray. That night, Jesus spent time praying, and afterwards, angels came and strengthened him. Draw Jesus praying over a rock in the garden.